Fukushima, like many towns, people and cars tried to accelerate away from the oncoming wall of water. Here, a bus just managed to avoid being hit. Fukushima province, people watched in awe as below them a dam was breached. In Tokyo, buildings were rocked and people inside were shaken, but they're built to withstand the powerful earthquakes which afflict the country. This time, the appalling damage was the result not of the quake bringing down buildings, but because of the shock waves that the seismic activity unleashed at sea. The country remains in a state of shock, whether they witnessed it for themselves or just watched the terror unfold on television.
This Tokyo newspaper from this morning, the headline is "Reactor Meltdown Feared." It's not about the tsunami, it's not about the earthquake, it's about the threat of a nuclear crisis. And that's because cooling systems at the Fukushima nuclear plant have failed, and an explosion at the same plant has reportedly seen 3 workers test positive for radiation. Tony Reid reports.
The explosion at the #1 reactor at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant raised fears of a meltdown. Anyone within a 20-kilometre radius was evacuated, tested for radiation poisoning, and then told to get some rest.
You can't alleviate the worries. Is the exclusion area going to increase? In any case, we can't move from here. I worry that the radiation is already reaching to where we are now.
They are right to be concerned. Saturday's accident could have exposed more than 160 people to radiation. New Zealander Kimberly Rothfield lives 60 kilometres away from the Fukushima nuclear plant and has been told to take precautions.
We've been told we can't open windows and we shouldn't go outside unless we're completely covered up, and we're not allowed to use the air conditioner.
The Japanese government eventually gave its version of what happened.
We have confirmed the explosion at Fukushima #1 plant did not take place in the reactor's container. The blast occurred because the building's wall fell down.
So the government very clear, there is no threat of a meltdown. But there is more bad news. An electricity outage at another reactor in the same complex caused cooling systems to fail. Tokyo Electric, which runs the plant, has taken the emergency step of injecting seawater instead of the usual fresh water into the reactor to cool it down. The nuclear crisis has experts wondering whether this will be Japan's Chernobyl. As if an earthquake and a tsunami weren't enough, Japan may have a nuclear disaster on its hands too. Tony Reid, 3 News.